Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you. I appreciate the really interesting thing that we're experiencing right now, and we're doing. We even had some star power here that we're happy to have as part of it. So, Mr. Brown, as you know, the EPA is threatening to restrict America's ability to convert motor vehicles into racing vehicles. The recognizing the protection of the Motorsport Act would clarify that it's legal for car racers to convert to street vehicles into a dedicated race vehicle. The bipartisan legislation provides certainty to motorsports companies employing tens of thousands of American workers that produce and sell special parts that racers need to build. So you're the one who is really interested, and you're on the line on this thing, and you've done a very good job. And my kids will be very proud that we're spending this time together. So I would like to just have you characterize the type of people. You know, Oklahoma is a small state. We're a rural state. We are an ag state. And so I look at this and both of these bills that we're going to be talking about today as things that will be very helpful. They're kind of geared for Oklahoma. And so I'd just like to have you share a little bit about the mom and pop type of population that benefits the most from this, Mr. Brown.
That were the mom and pops benefit from this, you said, sir?
No, how they benefit, because we're talking about Oklahomans now. These are
Yes.
not giant corporations. These are mom and pop operations.
Yes. Well, the way they benefit is that, you know, believe it or not, in our community of motorsports, our 1,500 tracks reach across the whole country, even in the small neighborhoods. Like I grew up in New Jersey, but I go to 22 different venues across the country in NHRA drag racing. And we go from all the way down there, like in Tulsa, have a racetrack in Tulsa, Oklahoma, all the way down to Dallas, Texas, Gainesville, Florida, and we go all the way up to Brainerd, Minnesota. We impact so many of the small grassroots people that come in, and we affect the communities just by generally just where, you know, I'm not going to lie to you, I grew up on a 15-acre farm ground in the little town of Chesterfield, New Jersey, right? It's in the middle of nowhere. Like cattle up the road. I drove a combine. My family had an excavating business that we on the farm. And what we did is you're do-it-yourselfers. So a lot of do-it-yourselfers back in those areas, this is actually who it benefits from because they work on their vehicles and they're the ones that are able to take it, where racing and motorsports, when you take it to the area where you're able to take that station wagon that your mom had, and you can actually modify it. It doesn't take a lot of money. And you could take it to your local drag strip. Where's a local drag strip in those little towns across America? Yeah. And you can go there and spend $20, and you can actually race that vehicle.
Yeah, we're operating on limited time here, and I want to come back because I've been fascinated by your background and what it's meant to you. But I had one question I wanted to have Mr. Vanderwall. As you mentioned in your testimony, agriculture accounts for approximately 10% of the total greenhouse gas emissions, and livestock accounts for less than 4% of overall emissions. And I think John Thune did a good job of explaining what a cow tax would do and who that would affect. And so, Mr. Vanderwall, will you explain how passing the Livestock Regulatory Protection Act would keep food costs down for Americans buying beef and pork, and eggs, and egg products?
Well, thank you for that question, Senator. That's very important because, like I said, food security is national security to our country. And the more times we put more regulations on our farms and ranches, it causes people to quit if they can't afford to follow those regulations or meet them, if they have to hire more people, and in turn it reduces the supply, which increases prices to consumers. And so it's certainly in our country's best efforts or best interests to use common sense and keep those regulations low. I talked about the fact that agriculture is doing such a good job already through innovation in the last, well, decades, and how we're doing things on a voluntary basis, always looking for a way to improve and doing the best we can. And we believe that's the way to go in the future.
But I really believe that, that we have an opportunity to yield to the pressures that are out there on overregulation. Overregulation is something that people don't understand until they are one among those who are overregulated. Now, Mr. Brown, is there any other thoughts, even though we're running a little short of time, that you'd like to talk about the further economic impact that this legislation would have on states like my state of Oklahoma?
Absolutely, sir. One thing that I like to share too, in just our motorsports industry, throughout the whole country, we have over $100 billion impact on the communities and states across the country that motorsports resonates and goes to. So it's definitely a big impact from communities, just from hotels, from everything that's around it. So it has a huge impact, and also for the small business owners also that actually make these parts and pieces, and also for the development of future technology that goes into vehicles tomorrow. Like we always say in racing, that we're working on tomorrow's technology today, and that's a huge impact across the whole country.
That's a good point, and thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You bet. You bet.